G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today we've got two of the world's best players going up against each other on Dry Arabia, of course, the best map. And have a look at this, already early aggression coming out. Ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce our players for today. In the north of the map, in the color blue, playing as the Byzantines, representing Team Fox, it's Vortex. And in the south of the map, in the color red, playing as the Holy Roman Empire, it's Sass. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dry Arabia. A pleasure to have your company as we watch two players face off on the ranked ladder. The question's going to be about who works out how to take down the other player before the other player reaches their final form. Of course, the Holy Roman Empire, notorious for their late game strength, their Imperial Age strength, but Sass looking to mix things up early with the Spearman coming out. Now, already we see that Spearman rally towards this tree line. Obviously, he can't scout out just yet where that gold mine is, but it is a forward gold. So I'm curious to see how many spears he actually goes for, but there is a chance we do get to see Ronald McDonald today. We're already starting to see the beginnings of his younger sibling. This is, Ronaldo McDonald. Sorry, I shouldn't. Let's talk a little bit about what we can expect, though. The Byzantines, explosive in their nature, once they hit the castle age. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see them rushing up towards it, but by the same token, the Holy Roman Empire, notorious for their castle age strength as well. The big question for me is going to be about whether Sass looks to go Imperial. Now, naturally, I think that he should. I always think the Holy Roman Empire should go Imperial Age because I think that's their strongest strategy. The question is going to be about whether there is a window for Sass to actually do it. Vortex now, you can see he's about to gather up the resources required to age up. He needs to make sure he's got 3900. There we go. Gets 3900, drops off. He's at 200, and that's it. He secures the age up. Two spearmen now going to be making their way out. Interesting decision from Sass to open up with so many spears. This is going to be the third spearman, and he's actually got one more in queue, and he's going for an early outpost as well. Now, keep in mind that there are double back golds. The one thing to note, though, is that these golds are right next to each other. So you can put an outpost down here, and you can pretty much guarantee that your enemy is not going to be able to take them. The only trouble is you're going to spread yourself very, very thin if you do that. This is not like the Mongols, where you kind of put an outpost here, and then an outpost here, and then an outpost here, and you wiggle your way around the enemy base with outposts. It's not the case, but early aggression can always just be placed down here. As long as you look for those fortifications as well, it can be really annoying to your enemy and require them to get something like a cataphract out super duper early. But we'll have to wait and see exactly what the plan is for Sass back home. We can see that he's now looking to drop that mining camp on the gold vein. Plenty of vills moving out there. Just the one prelate. There we go. We got it eventually. The one prelate for the moment, and beginning to make his way towards that top side. We can see him rotating around. Wants to keep his opponent off all forms of resources other than, of course, the gold. Or rather, other than the wood and the food. But I think for the moment, Vortex will be happy with what he's got. The Grand Winery is coming up. Now, Sass doesn't actually spot that, but he will know that there's probably a chance that the Grand Winery is coming up by putting this outpost down. This is a great little spot. We'll deny this out. And one thing to note is that when you deny the Grand Winery, you're denying all of that olive oil that will inevitably come in by collecting the berries, which means that you're denying units, which are most likely going to be longbows in this situation, but there's always a chance that things mix up. Age up comes through, vills move out over to the berries, and immediately they will see, maybe they don't, maybe they won't, they won't actually see the outpost, so the outpost will get up uncontested. Plenty of sheep coming back, though, so Vortex going to be very happy with his haul here, and now that outpost is online, spears looking to try and chase. You can see how quick Vortex is to react as well to those spears on the north side. Outpost about to come up. I don't know whether it's actually going to provide coverage on this last berry bush. The berry bush. Archon Chapel now on the south side. Bit of a weird Archon Chapel. So what does he even hit with this? We can't see the AoE, but I'm guessing he just hits the stone and also hits the wood. So maybe thinking of going for a second TC, but even then, I don't know if you'd really justify it. He doesn't really have... Yeah, this is a really tough spawn for the Holy Roman Empire. This is about the best you're actually going to get. Kind of wild. And instead of just waiting for the Archon to come up, he's going to drop down the lumber camp, which always feels terrible to do because you're basically getting no value out of this lumber camp other than the 40 seconds before the age up comes through. Meanwhile, towards that top side, the outpost does come up. You can see he's managed to deny out the berries completely. We also have a little bit of an aqueduct coming in now as well for Vortex on this top side of the base. Slowly, Lamette and I moving across the map, down towards the south side. Looking to try and get one over his opponent. Now, one thing to note is that Sass hasn't put the outpost down on the gold yet. And this is something that's kind of standard for the Order of the Dragon and the Holy Roman Empire. He's got 240 gold in the bank, so you guys know exactly what he's planning to do. Though, I will be honest, there's a lot of vills here on wood. And it is going to be, okay, it is going to be a second town center. Look, I guess the way to think about it is, if God gives you lemons, you got to make lemonades. Lemonade. Jeez, what's going on with my English right now? You know what it is? I probably need to take a drink. We'll have a look at what that alarm was shortly. Looks like it's just the Lamette and I. Maybe I need to take a drink. Maybe that's what's doing me. I got some water here on standby. I've finished my coffee. Now it's time for some water. Give me a second. Oh, BIS. It's for anyone who doesn't know what BIS means, it's an MMO term. It means best in slot. It's like the best item that you can get. So when I refer to water as BIS, it's like the best in-slot item that you can get for your beverage. There's nothing better than that. It gives you the max stats. But Lamette and I down on the south side, you can see a little bit of a fight, a little bit of a tussle. Wouldn't be surprised if we see the prelate come out and do a bit of healing. Vil gonna get caught. What is that pathing? You just gotta start asking questions when your Vil paths like that, and you can see that Sass is gonna have to go all the way around. He's trying for that second TC. It will be denied. Really well done here by Vortex to pick this up as well. And tough for the response now by Sass, because he's gonna be forced to make not just one archery range, but a second one as well. So he looks like he's investing in the Feudal Age, and that's exactly what Vortex wants. I think Vortex ideally wants to try and fight this out in Feudal, because the sooner your enemy gets into castle, I wouldn't say the tougher that it gets, but I think ideally in this situation, the Byzantines want to try and beat their opponent up to castle, and they do that by forcing them to stay in Feudal longer than they want to, and then finding a window. Lamette and Iron Archers now coming out as well. He could look to try and challenge the outpost in the north, but as we suspected, fortification is now coming through. Actually, is he not even going for that second town center? Maybe he was just looking for the fortification. Perhaps that's the case. He could have just been looking to pick up the arrow slits and then the fortification and not even go for the second TC. Though, I do suspect he probably was considering going for the second TC just because of the amount of vills that he brought out and the fact that he was still out here despite... or he was out here when his opponent actually stopped him. I suspect that this was more of like a variation that Sass has done now because he's realized, okay, you know, I've lost... I'm not going to be able to contest this stone, and as a result... I'm not going to be able to go for the second TC. And it's one of those things that, like, if you delay the second TC, it feels bad, right? Because if your TC gets delayed by, like, 4 or, like, a minute and 20 seconds, 80 seconds, you've lost 4 vills. And you're like, is it even worth investing into it now? Like, I'm down those 4 vills. So that is one of the mindsets that players often have, myself included, where it's like, you know, I've been delayed. I'm not even going to bother going into it now. But you can see the outpost in the north isn't going to be destined for survival for too long, as Sass now spots out the cataphract, don't worry, I'll get it. Why does it say outpost? I'm selecting this unit and it says outpost. Kairusophont, there we go. Yeah, there you go. So the Cataract? No, we're not talking about eyes right here. Jeez, I don't know what's going on with my head in this cast. Maybe I gotta go get myself... Oh, you know what it is? No, it isn't. I'm just thinking, because I normally, every day I take this medication. I say medication, it's not medication, it's Zyrtec, which is an antihistamine. I get really itchy, and if I don't take it, I get itchy, and right now my foot is itchy, but I just took it, so anyway, there you go. Probably, is that too much information? I don't know. Oh, my wife tells me that I overshare information a lot, so maybe that's too much information. Sorry, I take it back. Pretend like I said nothing about the itchy. Anyway, let's check in with Sass and see how he's doing. Have a look at these farm numbers. They're starting to really look good. He's making great value out of this Archon. Of course, it started out off as not a particularly favorable Archon Chapel. And, you know, when you consider about the history of the Archon Chapel, sometimes we've seen crazy Archon Chapels. I remember a game on Altai that we watched. I think it was a Marine Lord game where he picked the Holy Roman Empire on Altai. And he had literally his gold, his stone, his deer, his woodline, and his town center all in the ring of the Archon. And it's just like, it's just a god tier Archon. And, you know, some games you get it, some games you don't. Some maps are obviously a little bit more higher likelihood to happen. Obviously, the Archon has been nerfed recently as well. Not as large a range as it used to have. But now in the middle of the map, we've got archers up against each other. Lamette and I on one side, Spearman on the other. And it looks like Sass going to be giving up the spears that he's got. The Lamentinai, we can see that they've popped that shield wall ability, so going to be taking a little bit less damage. But in the end, it still do lose a couple of units. Carusselfont now making its way down the battlefield, trying to bait out a couple of archer shots, I suspect. But meanwhile, behind the scenes, we do see the scout is going to be spotting out the villagers from Vortex. Now the question becomes, when is that castle age going to be coming through? And you can see that Vortex, I suspect, may have found that window. As I said, the idea is that you want to kind of keep your opponent in the feudal age and get up ahead of them. That way you can utilize the Grand Winery to build those monks or train those monks for you and snipe away some of the relics. But of course, it becomes a lot more difficult in actual, or when you put things into action. Meanwhile, on the north side of the map, archers begin to move in towards that wood line. At the moment, Vortex with a slight villager advantage, 38 to 37. Economy is going to be very even Stevens, though. I say even Stevens, though we do have the prelate inside the Archon Chapel, which is going to be doing quite a lot of work down here. Another rack's going to be coming up, so double racks, double archery range for our Holy Roman Empire enjoyer. So maybe moving into men-at-arm crossbowmen in the mid-game instead of opting for knights. And I think that's probably a wise decision, especially considering how many Lamentinai they've already got out. You know, the knight is great at getting out early on in the castle age, looking for villagers, but up against someone like Vortex, there's a really good chance that they are probably going to have you covered when it comes to that sort of thing. But we do now start to see longbowmen on the field as well to supplement those archers from earlier. This is going to be part of the decision to go into the mercenary house and go into that, is it the Western? I think it's the Western contract. Meanwhile, let's check in on the south side. The age up's about to come through for both of these players. Have a look at this. Resource counts looking pretty even now. Meanwhile, outposts spawning out scouts. Lamentinai chasing away the archers. And up towards the top side, managing to take out 3 workers or 3 vills so far. Sass finds himself a nice vill lead. That's actually 3 recent workers because Vortex had a 1 villager lead not too long ago. Age up about to come through right now for Sass. We're right on board with him as it's almost guaranteed to be a Regnitz Cathedral. Where does he put it down? You'd probably... I think you probably want to put it down right here. Yeah, okay, that works as well. So, throws it down with the berry vills. The berry vills are the least optimal vills. I'd almost be tempted to bring over a couple of vills from my farms as well, just because you really want to try and get this age up through quickly. I would be aging up right now with, like, 16 vills. That's how quickly I would be aging up right now. And you can see that on the other side, Vortex is going to be doing the exact same thing. He's going to be going for the Golden Horn Tower, but it's going to be 17 vills that he's using to age up. So I think this is quite a big mistake, but we do see Sass now pulling more vills, so he's up to 11 now. This is definitely the right call, but remember that when it comes to situations like this, you want to be prioritizing that really, really quick age up, just so that you can start securing relics. And we can already see Sass on the top side of the map. He was kind of hovering over the relic up towards his top side, but I think the larger value is going to be on these relics in the center. And one of the things that I would have loved to have seen Sass do is actually create a couple more prelates. At the moment, he's only got 1 prelate. So if he'd had like 2 or 3 prelates right now, what he could be doing is have these prelates literally on these relics right now. And if you have a look at these relics, there's nothing on them. There's no Vortex units nearby. He doesn't know about this one, but obviously you'd kind of assume like 1, 2, where's the third one? Ooh, I wonder where it is. There it is. Right? Like, this to me is a very basic mistake. And this is something that even if you're at the silver level, the gold level, that you can be doing in your games to improve as a Holy Roman Empire player. And despite, you know, being at Conqueror 3+++, which Sass is, you know, he's like a 2K rated player, we see this, and I would say this is an objective mistake, because people will look at this and say, no, it's not a mistake because he wants to make prelates out of his Regnitz Cathedral. Well, I say to you, what value is your prelate if there is no relic to pick up because your enemy has denied it from you? You can take that advantage early on in the game, and sure, you might lose a villager or 2 because you've now trained prelates out of the town center, but at the end of the day, that relic with the Regnitz is going to reap dividends much greater than any villager could give you. Maybe unless that villager was to go on and build a town center and then build an empire, perhaps then. But for the most part, the relic from the Holy Roman Empire will outmatch the villager. Anyway, numbers looking decent here for Sass on the defense. I don't think he'll have too many a problem. The only issue is that he does have these longbows to contend with. He's going to take out the majority of the siege here, and that should keep him afloat in this situation. He does have the arrow slits on the outpost as well, so he's not going to be too fast. And there's the men-at-arms now making their way out. Relics on the way back through. There's the first one. He's up towards this top side. You can see he's actually looking to try and scout out these relics from his opponent. Now, one thing to note is on the side of Vortex, we don't actually see any monks through just yet. And I'd say that's probably a little bit of a mistake on his part as well. He's got plenty of resources in the bank, would have no issue doing it. And it's super simple to do. Right, you just right-click all of the relics and then right-click them back to your towards your Grand Winery, and it's one of those things. But I guess realistically, no, I'm going to take that back. I was going to say relics don't play a huge part. No, they play a massive part. Like this game is literally all about relics right now, and we do now start to see. Okay, there's the monk. Hold on, why is that? Okay, the monk came out. I feel like I clicked on the Grand Winery, but I didn't see the monk training. Anyway, he's out here on the map. I'd say it's a bit of a mistake going for this relic first. I'd be looking. Oh, actually, I take it back. You can't really contest this right now. It's only if you can contest the relic that it makes sense. So maybe this is definitely the right call right now. All right, let's check in on that south side and see how we're doing from the perspective of SAS. Prelates are still moving out in the middle of the map. How many relics is he going to get? Now, one thing to note is that SAS might just be thinking, you know what, Drongo? I don't need to make prelates out of my town center. I can make them out of my Regnitz Cathedral, and I'm still going to get the relics. Like, if he thinks he's still going to get 4 out of the 5 relics, then, you know, fair play to him. Let's see if he can do it. Because I would say, look, it's probably better not to roll the numbers or to roll the dice. I'd say let's go for the guarantee, but we'll see what the play is as the men-at-arms do start to take down the Kairusophon. Archers continue to push forward. He's got no... do we have the leather armor? Is the leather armor available here? Can I quickly check? Where's my archery range? There it is. Leather armor? That's Order of the Dragon, right? I gotta head back to the drawing board, but have a look at this. He does manage to snipe away, so that gives him 3 out of the 5 relics for the moment. Has that 5th relic been found? It hasn't actually been found yet. Prelate gets sniped out. Jeez. You hate to see it. Cataphract's coming out now. He's got 2 Cataphracts and a Scout Crossbowman as well. He gets the nice little charge through on those men-at-arms, and Cataphract's going to start doing work as SAS begins to lose power and control in the center of the map. And you know what that means. Without control in that center of the map, there is almost certainly going to be a monk on the way towards this relic. Let's have a look and see. Oh, no, never mind. He's going out here. He might actually walk across the sacred site, and if he does, there's no cav out for SAS, so this isn't a big issue. Right, like if there was cavalry out, if you knew if you had horsemen and you see this, you just send like 3 horsemen up here, and you can potentially go and stop that from being captured. But you can see now this prelate is trying to make his way back towards that relic, trying to secure it up. Now spots that his opponent has sniped away one of those relics, and definitely I can't help but feel that obviously SAS is an incredibly good player, but the priority on the relics in the Castle Age is such an important thing, because the relics allow you to go Imperial Age. If you don't get 3 out of the 5 relics, you can't really go Imperial Age. It's so much harder for you to do that because it's going to be generating that gold passively for you. So if you hold one relic, 160 gold a minute, you hold it for 6 minutes, you're looking at 1,000 gold. It is a lot of resources, just that single relic, and that 1,000 gold is, you know, what allows you to get to the Imperial Age. So the difference between, say, 2 relics and 3, or 2 relics and 4, 2 relics... I mean, you're not really going to be getting 5 relics at this level. It's unlikely. Yeah, like 3 and 4 is massive. And I think that's probably going to set the state of this game. Because, as I said to you, the big thing for SAS now is, sure, he's fighting out in the Castle Age, but the question is going to be about whether he can get to the Imperial Age, whether he finds a window for it. And I don't think he will, if he doesn't secure these relics. But have a look at this. Is this a mistake by Vortex? I feel like... I don't know. I don't want to keep saying everything's a mistake, right? And I feel like I'm beating the dead horse here. Like, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. This is a mistake. It's like, mate, just calm down and enjoy the game. All right. Sorry. Sorry, I gotta remind myself sometimes. Oh, we're not coaching here. We're looking at 2 of the world's best players and trying to identify what's going well for them, what's going wrong for them. But SAS, despite losing out this early prelate, manages to recover the relic. I'm impressed. If anything, I feel like it was a bit of a failure on Vortex's part, though. He's got the Lance Connect. It's going to be out here matching against the Holy Roman Empire. And now beginning to push forward. Vortex looking to try and deal out some damage here. That relic does get picked up. You can see it's over on the safe side on that edge of the map. 2 relics to Vortex, 3 to SAS. And now the men-at-arms chasing down the crossbows and the longbows. Cataphract goes down. And the numbers are decent here for SAS. We see another Kairosophon gonna be slowly constructed here. Relic safely on the way back here. So I wonder what happened with Vortex and the Monk. I guess he just went to capture this sacred site instead? Because it's 30 seconds to capture the sacred site. Yeah, I don't know, maybe he just kind of forgot about it? Or just... I think that was it, because in that situation, I can't imagine a reason why you just wouldn't have your army sitting on this relic while you wait for your Monk to come and get it. I don't... am I the only one? Maybe I'm like emphasizing it too much, but I don't know. It's like 4 vills for the Order of the Holy Roman Empire. I don't know. I'm so anchored onto this one thing, dude. I can't stop. I'm trying to like change the subject, and I just keep falling back onto it. Like, oh my god, the relics. I love the relics, man. The relics get me going. All right, men at arms making their way forward here towards the enemy army. He's got a decent amount of longbows here on the backside. He's able to pick off these units, but keep in mind the men-at-arms, they're pretty quick. These are Holy Roman Empire men-at-arms. Also got extra movement speed on these crossbows as well, but the kiting is decent from Vortex. Cataphract going to be coming in once again onto the back line. Beautiful charge through the enemy. Crossbows over on the east, or on the right side of the screen. Longbowman around the left side, and he's doing a wonderful job of just kiting down all of these units. Look at the kiting. Just constantly making sure that these men-at-arms are not getting free hits and that they have to walk and then hit, so they're not able to attack off cooldown. Really, really smart play by Vortex here. So, the final relic count, 3-2. That's all we're going to talk about for the relics. I don't know if that's enough. Like, you definitely feel good if you get 3 relics as the Holy Roman Empire. You want a gun for 4, but if you can get 3, that's okay. And to be honest, like, this 4th relic, he hadn't actually seen this relic. And I'm sure people will say, that's a skill issue. Maybe. You know, you would definitely say that, I'd be happy with that. 3 relics ain't bad. Once again, the question now comes back to whether he's going to be able to find a window to hit Imperial Age. Once you get Imperial Age, the idea is simple. You put an outpost down, normally behind the town center. You upgrade it, so you use the fortification. You fortify the outpost, and then the moment you hit Imperial, you get the cannon emplacement or the bombard emplacement on it. And that is going to hold for you. That's the idea behind it. And you put the relic inside so it becomes an absolute powerhouse of a defensive objective. So whether he's going to be able to find the window or not is a huge question, because at the moment, Sass doesn't look like he is going to find that window. There's a lot of units inside the base right now. Vortex is cleaning them out, continuing to kite away. And I think if there's one highlight of this game, it has got to be the micro from Vortex. The way that he was kiting around in a circle, I don't know if you guys were paying attention as it was happening, but essentially, like, he was being chased by men-at-arms, and instead of running away from the men-at-arms in one direction, he ran in a circle away from the men-at-arms, and that allowed him to constantly be engaged in the fight while at the same time kiting. So just one of those really advanced micro techniques. Now those Kairosophons going to be pushing forward. Horsemen now going to start coming out here as well from Sass. Let's switch over to the income per minute, get a bit of an idea on where these guys are at. You can see that Sass has the Vil lead, obviously has the Relic lead. Sacred Sites are in favor of his opponent though. Currently, let's, oh my lord, that's a lot of farms. A lot of olive groves. Olive groves? Olive groves. We got it. All right. So how does Sass go about holding this? I think he just needs to consolidate. I think that's the big thing. You just want to try and consolidate forces. He's actually got a couple of relics on the ground at the front here. And I can't help but feel like this is one of the big issues that players playing the Holy Roman Empire kind of forget about, is they don't put the outpost at the back of the base. They put it at the front. So it's the first thing that goes down. But now Kairosophon's taking out the production facilities. Sass going to be looking to chase away the enemy, trying to keep his head above water. But you got to remember that Vortex right now, he senses that there's blood in the water. So like a shark, he is just looming. He is swooping upon this 500 olive oil a minute coming through, and he manages to snipe away one of those relics. He says, "Hey, where do you think you were? What do you think you were doing with that relic?" But at the same time, Sass says, "No, not going to happen. I see you. I spot you." More and more units continue to dive in, and Sass really fighting for his life in this game. You can see that he's struggling right now as more units continue being rallied across the map. More longbows on the way. Plenty of Lamentonite as well as the Cataphract on the way down. He just continues rallying in underneath the town center, and he doesn't seem to be giving any space whatsoever to Sass. He's got a lot of units in queue though, Sass. As long as he's able to buy some time here, he doesn't want to be chasing like this right here. This is not good. You're just throwing units away, and I think he realizes that now. But you just want to kind of chill out underneath the town center, buy yourself a little bit of time. And I can't help but feel like this all just stems from that early game, right? Like, Sass tried to put Vortex on the back foot by opening up with the spears. And then the response from Vortex put Sass on the back foot because it meant that he couldn't play into that, what I suspect was a second town center attempt. And then you don't have to rely as much on the relics if you go into the second town center. But I suspect that's what it was. And he just kind of pushed him off balance, essentially. That's what happened. And now, as a result, you can see that Vortex is really able to punish him here. Sass does not have that window to age up to Imperial Age, and he's stuck in the Castle Age. And look, don't get me wrong, Holy Roman Empire in the Castle Age is great, but Holy Roman Empire in the Imperial Age is amazing. It's Giga Chat amazing. All right, well, numbers once again going to be building here for Sass. He's not looking too terrible when it comes to it. Men-at-Arms going to be taking down that Cataphract at the front, but you can see the longbows just sniping off on the crossbows. That's what makes the longbows so damn powerful, able to snipe out these crossbows without the crossbows being able to do any damage. And beautiful micro once again. Incredible control coming out from Vortex here as he manages to keep the quarterback in the pocket, aka the longbows in the pocket. Continuing to kite away. We hear the palings get dropped down, but he cancels them immediately. Maybe a little bit of a misclick. Cataphracts once again towards the reinforcement line, and he holds strong. The men-at-arms working their way through, and that's going to be the game. Ladies and gentlemen, Vortex forces out the GG from Sass, and the victory is in his favor. Ladies and gentlemen, go check him out. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can watch both of these players live. Of course, they stream both on Twitch, so go check them out. Go say good day, and of course, we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.